Hello BookTube. I'm here with another unintelligible video about books and whatnot. It's what happens when you're tired and you've been drinking. So that's my life through the summer. Stuff around here has to be done. We grow a garden. We have animals we take care of. So. But this is my wrap-up for May and my June TBR. So if you're very, very brave, stick around because this is what I do. Okay, as far as... let me do this one book at a time, or I'll drop something. Honestly, I was barely able to fasten my camera to the tripod, so... my coordination's in the zone. First of all, I read Walking Drum by Lou L'Amour, and it's one of the... I'm a big Lou L'Amour fan. Like pretty much most of his stuff. I saw this book. I think Richardson Mark was doing a book tour, a bookshelf tour, and I saw this on his channel, and my cousin had raved about it, so I was like, I got to get around to reading that. So, and as I mentioned before, my cousin, he probably has every Lou L'Amour book ever. So I started reading it, and it's not typical Lou L'Amour. Generally, obviously, he writes westerns. He's gotten, you know, outside the genre a couple times, like with Last of the Breed, Haunted Mesa, and maybe one or two others, but this was about Thurin Kerbuchard, and he's trying to get back what he lost. They come in and slaughtered his family and stuff like that. But it really, I gave this, as far as, now listen, as far as Lou L'Amour books go, this is a 5-star read. So if you're into that, pick this up. I love this book. I mean, it's you know, it's about a guy. If you have brains and you're physically able, you know, you could go places back then. I mean, you still can in today's modern world. It's just not quite the same thing. Also, this was a bit racy for Lou L'Amour as far as the womanizing goes. There's history lessons and geography lessons, and let me see what my note says. Oh yeah, I learned a new word, temerity, which means foolish or rash boldness, recklessness. That was me in my youth. So, like I said, I give that 5 stars for a Lou L'Amour book. Next I read, actually, this one here. Sing, Unburied Sing by Jessamine Ward. And I did this as a buddy read with Scott Cruikshanks over at BookX. And Scott and I had a similar experience with this book. Let me back up a little bit. And this has been shortlisted, so yeah, it's a tragic story, but it boils down to dysfunctional people, and I've been around dysfunctional people all my life. I mean, I live in a really, really rural area, and I moved from here, lived around Atlanta, and then I went up north and lived around Detroit, so I've seen my share of dysfunctional folks. And in that respect, it wasn't like a really, you know, some of the stuff they talked about, the drug use, the violence, didn't shock me because I've been around crap like that. The only thing that salvaged the star rating on this was the supernatural aspects and the traditionalism in it. So it was going to be a 3-star read, although I do like Jessamine's writing style. The whole story itself was like, yeah, I get that. That's kind of the way things are around here. So, but I gave this 4 stars. And thanks, Scott, for the buddy read, man. Maybe next time we'll catch something a little bit better. But like I said, that's not a bad read. It just depends on what your tastes are. Third book I read was Unicorn Hunting by A.R. Hellbender Roya over at Unicorn Hunter Books. And I'm not really into fantasy, but she did a. This was a good book. You can go to my review of this for Todd and Dane's Indie Read Along. Okay, yeah, I can't see. But what I've discovered with these indie books is that apparently everyone knows how to format a book except for myself. So anyway, good job, Roya. I gave that a 4 stars on our indie read along rating system. So cool. And then there was The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Everyone knows this story. I just had not read it. When I first delved into it, of course there's long paragraphs and you have the writing style of, you know, the 19th century. I can't remember what year this was published, 18 something something. But it was pretty decent. Everyone knows the storyline. This has been reviewed a bazillion times, but I mean, I just, you know, it was not that awesome. I give it like a 3.5 because, you know, I don't know. A lot of people really liked it, but it was. I mean, I liked the writing style for an older book, but that was The Picture of Dorian Gray. I should look into his plays and stuff like that. But still, like I said, not bad. Not bad at all for my first Oscar Wilde read. Now, after stumbling and stammering through that, let me get into what I'm reading for June. First and foremost is a book that, one of several books that Mark sent me from Richardson Reads. The Prometheus design. It's a Star Trek novel. Gotta do that one. And Wally Lamb, I was supposed to get to that last month, but I read Unburied in lieu of this one. So I'm gonna finally read some Wally Lamb. Then I have S.C. Dickinson, Another World Called Ours. It's a short story collection. That is our own Stephanie. Formerly Peg and Pages Reads, now Lattes and Mockingjays. Like I said, Stephanie, I'm looking forward to it. Then I have Vic and Blood by Harlan Ellison, who's one of my favorite writers. However, I have not read this book or novella. Sorry, it's warm back here. And then I have the Stories from the Twilight Zone by Rod Serling. And if you've never read anything by Rod Serling or watched the Twilight Zone or what, the guy was a freaking genius. So I'm gonna jump right into this. So that is it. Hope I didn't drag it along too slowly or whatever, but we all have a life outside of this, so you know, sometimes we're tired and drunk and whatever. But if you've stuck around this long, you know, you're a real trooper. I appreciate that. Bye.